I stood frozen for a moment, my mind struggling to process the chaos unfolding before me. Just moments ago, Timothy had been alive, but now his life was extinguished, and I could almost feel my own flickering out beside him. The sound of Grace's anguished cries echoed in the background, a haunting melody that tugged at my soul, while an eerie chill of crisp breath brushed against the nape of my neck. I forced myself to focus, pushing aside the paralyzing shock, and hoisted Timothy's limp body onto my back. "We have to get out of here. Your mother is coming," I shouted, urgency coursing through me as we all rushed toward the exit. Descending the narrow staircase felt like a descent into hell itself, each step heavy with the weight of our desperation. As we burst through the front door, Grace sprinted to one of the parked cars, instinctively popping the door open. We scrambled inside, the interior a brief sanctuary from the outside nightmare. I found myself wedged in the back seat, Timothy slumped against me, as we drove off, but my eyes flitted to the rearview mirror, and fear constricted my chest as I glimpsed a massive silhouette closing in on us, a grotesque, demonic figure that sent shivers down my spine. It was Lucy, the Duke of Hell, her presence a dark omen. With a deafening thud, the enormous feline landed on top of the car, its claws raking the metal as if it were made of paper. Chris pressed his palms against the roof in a desperate attempt to fend off the horror. I watched, transfixed, as a shift flickered in Lucy's penetrating gaze. Suddenly, her eyes glowed a venomous green before she toppled off the car, rolling onto the ground like a barrel of whiskey thrown from a ship. "Where are we going?" Chris yelled, but his voice seemed to fade into a distant murmur, drowned out by the torrent of my racing thoughts. My mind was consumed by worry for Timothy. I was oblivious to the nature of the dark magic that might have ensnared him. Was it a hex, a curse, or something more insidious? I had no idea where he was now. Was he slipping into the void of nothingness, or worse, trapped in the realm of the deceased? As I glanced over at Grace, I could see her trembling hands gripping the steering wheel tightly, her knuckles pale with tension. I felt her heartbeat, rapid and frantic, as the burden of blame weighed heavily on her heart. A part of me wanted to lay blame at her feet, to scream that this was her fault. But I knew that in the depths of this abyss, nothing could truly be changed. Shifting blame wouldn't bring Timothy back. "Keep going. I'll tell you when to turn," I commanded, my voice steady despite the storm swirling inside me. Grace nodded, her gaze locked on the road, and with a swift motion, she slid a singular letter, K, from her mouth as we drifted smoothly onto the main road. Slowly, the frantic rhythm of our hearts began to settle, whispering of fragile hope amid the chaos. The air felt unnaturally heavy, pressing down on us like a thick fog that refused to lift. Chris sat by the window, lost in thought, his gaze distant as he pondered a time when life was uncomplicated and carefree. In contrast, Grace sat with a spark of determination in her eyes, eager to embark on a new journey that promised better days. I watched them both, feeling a pang of nostalgia for my own youth, understanding their feelings as if they were the pages of a well-loved book. They were just young, filled with hope and naive dreams, preparing to wage war in a conflict that hadn't even begun. Their spirits were restless, yearning to soar high when the moment was right, to truly comprehend the intricacies of love, the fleeting nature of youth, and the elusive quest for peace. I could see them staring intently at the water nearby, their expressions a mix of wonder and fear as they contemplated how to keep from drowning, both literally and metaphorically, just as I had once done a lifetime ago. As fate would have it, we soon found ourselves standing before the house I had instructed them to come to. As if in a dream, we stepped through the threshold, and in an instant, we were inside, as though the confines of time had collapsed around us. The sight that greeted me sent a chill down my spine. Timothy's lifeless body sprawled across the floor, a stark contrast to the buzzing energy that had filled the air just moments before. The rest of us instinctively settled onto the couch, exchanging bewildered glances, trying to piece together the bizarre turn of events. Then, from the shadows of the hallway, a strange woman emerged. She strode in confidently, cradling a steaming cup of tea as if it were the most ordinary thing in the world. I rose quickly, a mix of urgency and respect flooding through me. I bowed my head slightly, attempting to explain, "Lane, I know my arrival is unexpected," but she interrupted me with a melodic laugh, her eyes sparkling with warmth. As she approached us, her gaze fell upon Timothy on the floor. "The boy," she remarked, her tone far too casual given the circumstances, before shifting her attention back to me. You are the only witch I know who possesses the power to break a spell from hex. I don't know the nature of this curse or whether it's rooted in necromancy or voodoo, I confessed, my voice trembling with rising panic. Without hesitation, she placed a calming hand on my chest and gently nudged me aside. As she began to circle Timothy's still form, I watched in silence, my heart pounding in my chest. She turned her head, scrutinizing him with an intensity that bordered on reverence. Suddenly, she halted as her eyes met his, something unsettling sparking in her expression. The smile that had lit up her face moments before faded, leaving behind a shadow of concern. Regaining her composure, she faced me, her voice steady yet grave. "This is the spell of the dead Irish lord." The words sent a shiver down my spine, for I knew the tale all too well. The dead Irish lord was none other than Lana's long-lost son, King Tuvan. From the moment he was born, the world had deemed him a curse. His face bore the marks of a nightmare, as if his skin had been cruelly peeled back by some unseen beast, leaving behind a haunting visage that was more monster than man. But she wanted to keep him. The Emperor, however, viewed the child as an abomination. Determined to rid the Empire of what he considered a threat, he ordered the child's execution by fire. Lana, in a desperate act of defiance and protection, killed the Emperor, igniting the first witch hunt in the Empire's history. Fleeing with her children, Lana sought refuge in the depths of the bewitched forest. There, she invoked an ancient spell passed down through generations of her lineage, a spell of eternal slumber. With a heavy heart, she cast the enchantment upon her 3 children, their eyes turning as black as the void, and they fell into a deep sleep for 5 days. Upon awakening, the world they knew had vanished. The Empire lay in ruins, its streets deserted, and its buildings crumbled to dust. The once thriving kingdom was now an empty expanse, infinite and silent. Lana was nowhere to be found. Whispers among the few survivors spoke of her wrath. Some claimed she had set the entire land ablaze, her fury consuming all in its path. Others believed she had transformed the people into restless spirits, their anguished cries echoing through the desolate landscape. When questioned about the fate of her son, Lana's voice trembled with sorrow. "He is not dead," I whispered, her hand gently caressing his hair. "Not entirely. He lies in an eternal slumber, untouched by time, awaiting the day he may awaken," she said. I turned my gaze to Lana, inching closer until the space between us felt charged. "Where is he?" I asked, my voice trembling like a flickering candle in a darkened room. Her eyes lifted to mine, and in that moment, I sensed the world around us begin to dissolve into nothingness. He was trapped in a realm ruled by a yellow god, a being whose very essence warped the fabric of reality. I felt the earth shift beneath me as if it were crumbling into itself. In that helpless moment, I realized I was powerless to guide him back. The deity that held him captive possessed a might that overshadowed even death itself. He was the progenitor of fallen gods, a sovereign over a dimension where time and logic twisted in unimaginable ways. Here, demons and angels alike were bound by rigid laws, experiencing consequences akin to the mortals they often scorned. As we sank deeper into the couch, the weight of our thoughts pressing down on us, we could only imagine the horrors he faced. The stories we had heard about otherworldly encounters and the unexplainable events echoed in our minds, each tale more haunting than the last. We knew that such realms were not just figments of imagination, they were truths wrapped in legends, and now, one of our own was lost to that nightmarish reality.